Hello class, and welcome to section 4.3, which is about solving addition and subtraction equations. When we are solving equations, there is one key goal that is going to be consistent no matter what type of equation we have. And that rule is going to be to get the variable alone. So whether that means variable is the only thing on the left side of the equal sign or the only thing on the right side of the equal sign, it needs to be the only thing by itself, completely isolated from all of the numbers. So our goal is always to get the variable completely by itself. So we're going to start with a fairly simple one. We've got x minus 6 is equal to 8. Now, most of you can probably look at this equation and think in your head, okay, something minus 6 is equal to 8, and you can count to figure out the answer. The reason we're starting with these simple expressions is to give us the tools and resources that we need when we're going to solve the longer, more complex equations. So it is going to be absolutely crucial that you are learning to show your work right now and that you are actually showing your work with these simple problems. So when we get into the longer, more difficult problems, you know how to do them. So if we're looking at x minus 6 is equal to 8, what we're going to do here is we need to get the x by itself. The thing that is stopping x from being by itself is the minus 6. We need to get rid of the minus 6, and in order to get rid of the minus 6, we need to cancel it out. To cancel things, we're going to use the opposite. So if we have a negative 6 and we add 6, that goes to 0. So that's gone. But if we did it to one side of our equation, we have to do it to the other side of our equation to keep it balanced. If it helps, you can draw a line at the equal sign to make sure that you are doing your operations on both sides of the equal sign. So we end up with our x. And then on this side, the right side, we've got 8 plus 6, which is going to give us 14. The nice thing about equations is you can always check your work and guarantee that your answers are right by taking your answer and plugging it back in. So if I plug it back in, I would have an equation that says 14 minus 6, and 14 minus 6 is equal to 8, so it checks out. If you plug your answer back in and it doesn't check out, then you need to go back and check your steps and make sure that you did the rest of the problem correctly. Go ahead and try this one on your own. In order to get rid of 4, we're going to have to subtract 4 from both sides. So that makes the positive and the negative 4 cancel out, giving us an answer of x is equal to 5. Again, we could check our work by saying 4 plus 5 is equal to 9, and that does indeed check out, so we have the right answer. This also works with adding and subtracting of mixed numbers or fractions. So if I've got a number plus 5/6 is equal to 15 and 1/4, in order to get rid of adding 5 and 5/6, we're going to subtract 5 and 5/6 from both sides of the equation. So again, it happened on the left side, so it had to happen on the right side. Positive and negative cancel out, and that gives me just my n. Now, over here, we have two mixed numbers that do not have a common denominator. So we're going to need to get a common denominator. 4 and 6, the common denominator is 12. So we've got 15 and 3/12, because we multiply both of these by 3, minus 5, and when I multiply those, we're going to multiply them by 2, so minus 5 and 10/12. Using what we learned in chapter 3, that gives me 15 minus 5, which is 10, and 3/12 minus 10/12, which is going to be negative 7/12. So we're at 10, and we need to go down by 7/12. So that's going to put me down to 9, because we need to go down from there. And then there's going to be 5/12 left over. So our answer for n is going to be 9 and 5/12. Again, you could plug this back in and check your answer to make sure that it is accurate. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Again, we're going to get rid of this subtracting, and in order to get rid of the subtracting, we're going to add. So these cancel out. We're left with just our x. Our common denominator here is going to be 8, so I added 6/8 to both sides, which gives me 21 and 11/8, which simplifies to 22 and 3/8. This same kind of process can be used with decimals. So I've got m minus 9.27 is equal to negative 25.4. In order to solve this problem, I'm going to need to add 9.27 to both sides. To get rid of a negative 9.27, I'm going to add 9.27. Again, it's got to be done on both sides of the equal sign. And when I do that addition, it is going to give me an answer of negative 16.13. Again, you could double check by plugging it back in. Negative 16.13 minus 9.27 is going to give me negative 25.4. Go ahead and try this one on your own. In order to solve, we have to subtract that 12.9 from both sides, making it cancel out. And we are left with x is equal to 32.4. If you have questions about this or anything else from the lesson, please let me know when you get to class.